Hello everyone, welcome to our session. Today's topic is Portugal Golden Visa, the fastest path to European passport. And we are going to walk you through one of the most efficient and flexible residency by investment programs in the European Union. And more of this, we will also overview all our clients' general needs and goals and compare different opportunities, programs, and options. So that you can clearly understand whether this particular program suits you. And so you're welcome to ask your questions. Please use the chats and we will go through all of them later. My name is Ksenia Grishenko. I am CEO and founder of Solent, where we help our clients with immigration consulting and real estate investments around the world. And I also want to introduce and welcome my colleague, Alison York. Hello, Alison.
Hello, Ksenia.
So together we will guide you through everything you need to know, from what's happening in the European residency space to why Portugal Golden Visa works best for you and what options to select. Before we start, let me quickly tell you about our experience in company. We have three main directions of our business, and this is immigration consulting, citizenship by investment programs, residency in European Union, United Kingdom, the US, Canada, and other countries. Also, we are doing real estate investment, and we work in three main regions. This is Middle East market, Europe, and Southeast Asia. And we also offer corporate services like opening companies and bank accounts in some jurisdictions. With our offices in Dubai, Moscow, Istanbul, and Montenegro, we work locally with clients across the continents. And these are our key partners, mainly in Dubai. So we operate with many family offices, private banks, and investment companies. So coming to the immigration solutions, we advise on citizenship and residency programs, starting from Caribbean regions to Southeast Asia, and of course, across the EU. We offer both investment-based and non-investment-based solutions, and we monitor all the potential changes and regulations, processing time and benefits. We try to close all the main clients' needs, and we try to choose the best solutions that suits tailoredly to particular client and request, not just what is more easier to sell or more profitable for us. So we can guide you over many different options and to compare all of them. And this is what I strongly recommend to do, to view the whole picture, what is offered on the market, to know what are the alternatives, and to be absolutely sure why you choose one particular option. So let's go to European Union. But before this, what I wanted to tell, we often speak about second citizenship and how the passport, how the place you were born defines you in many different ways. And we actually cannot choose the place of birth. We cannot choose the initial passport we are handling or initial residency. And many things are defined by default. For example, where we can travel or cannot travel without visa, where we can or cannot open bank accounts, where our children can educate, and what taxes we are paying, and many other things. But when lives progress, we gain ability to make some strategic decisions: where to live, where to educate children, where to establish business, how to optimize taxation, and where to retire. So this actually we can put these circumstances to our phase of control, and this is an important right for you to be able to choose out of what world offers you. And we are here to guide you. We only work with the legal options. We are not offering any, this scam offers with fake repatriation or something like this. We are checking all the ways which are legit and safe for you. So let's move to European Union programs. And actually, you can gain residency in EU with many different ways. And that can be employment basis, that can be basis for digital nomads, for startups, for entrepreneurs. And the only thing which you need to consider is actually whether this or another option suits you with the basement, whether you have all the necessary requirements to obtain this, and what are the terms for renewal. So whether you can you can fulfill all the requirements which are needed for renewals. And if you, for example, do not plan to relocate, you do not plan to change your lifestyle right now, so most of the basements to get European residency will not suit you, because most of them for renewal requires you to spend most of the time in Europe. That means you will become a tax resident and you need to change your lifestyle immediately. For some people that will work, but for those who plan to keep their current lifestyle, to keep their current business running in their home country of residency, they would love to check some different programs which allow you to have benefits, but to keep your current lifestyle at the same moment. So these actually are possible within investment rules of residency, which are also called Golden Visa programs, because they only require you to keep your assets where you invested in order to renew. Sometimes like very small residency requirements appear, like in Portugal, only 7 days per year or 14 days per 2 years. So this is easy to fulfill, just one family travel and your requirements are fulfilled. And here you can get all the benefits. First of all, of course, that will be visa-free access to all Schengen countries, meaning having one of the European residency, you can travel visa-free to other 27 European countries. Second thing, it's also an access to financial and social institutions, or access to bank accounts, access to business environment, and social securities which offer European countries. It can also be part of educational benefits for your children, because we all know that the tariffs for universities can vary based on either you're a resident, a citizen, or international student. And of course, for many of our clients and for many people, we understand that European residency can be first step for their European passport, because actually there's only one official European program which can give you citizenship, and this is Malta, and this is really quite expensive. And besides being expensive, it's not an investment like we consider it to be. It's mainly donation based. So to get citizenship in Europe officially, just by investing somewhere is not possible. And most people would consider naturalization route, meaning that you first get your residency, then you can switch to permanent residency, and then you can apply for citizenship. And further, we are going to speak about this as well, because Portugal is actually one of the most efficient programs in Europe, which allows you to naturalize in Europe and apply for your citizenship in a short period. Well, actually the shortest in Europe. It's only 5 years, and the process is quite smooth, and we will speak about it later. By the way, I want to ask you to leave a comment. What is your reason to get European residency? Why you consider maybe Portugal, or maybe we can recommend you something else. We are here to help you get full clearance in all available options. Here we also put 3 most popular Golden Visa programs in Europe. As you might be aware, Spain is closing the program, so actually Greece is here to compare, as well as Hungary. And despite we see that Portugal offers 500,000 euro investment amount required to be invested in funds, please stay with us. We will consider other options that are also available in Portugal Golden Visa program, and they are really interesting and can be even cheaper than in Greece and Hungary. So just spoiler. And compared to others, actually the main benefit in Portugal is that it is possible to convert to citizenship without necessity to move to country right now. It's the easiest and the shortest period before passport. So we actually study with our lawyers these questions a lot, because we understand many clients, they do plan to apply for citizenship, and Portugal allows really smooth and accessible way to do this. So I want us to dive deep into Portugal program, and I'm giving the word to Alison. Please introduce the program and let's move forward.
Thank you, Ksenia. Yeah, so let's start talking about Portugal. And before we go deeper into the details and the advantages of the program, let's also cover some general information about the country. So it's one of the European Union countries, official language is Portuguese, currency is euro. And yeah, let's just focus on some country highlights, because Portugal is really a very attractive and favorable place to invest in because of the country's unique characteristics. So Portugal constantly ranks highly in various global ratings due to its strong quality of life, economic stability, investment-friendly policies. So, for example, it's one of the most welcoming countries in the world. It's considered one of the best countries for digital nomads, like remote work-friendly country. Its quality of life is very high ranked in different international ratings, like also due to safety, healthcare, climate. It's one of the best countries for doing business. And it's also ranked 12th globally by the World Health Organization. So, taking into account all of this being said, for all the investors, even though for people who do not plan to relocate in the country, Portugal seems very safe space to put the money into. And for those who consider like probably relocation for the retirement, like for kids' future, Portugal also offers different opportunities. So going straight to the Golden Visa program. This program was launched in 2012, and actually the main goal of this program was to attract international capital to the country after the economic crisis of 2008. And since that time, the program proved to be a success, raising over 7.5 billion euros. Since that time, like since 2012, it has been one of the most popular program among the investors, and really it stays like this till the today. So what is the Portugal Golden Visa program? It allows you to get a Golden Visa by investing money in the country. And what is the best thing that was already mentioned is that it's the only country in the European Union, like the only program that allows you to get a European passport without a necessity to relocate to the country. So normally all the countries have this naturalization process where you need to spend in the country for like at least 183 days each year. And after 5, 7, 10 years, depending on the country, you can apply for a passport. In Portugal, like in Golden Visa, if you're a Golden Visa holder, it's not like that. You only need to spend 7 days a year in the country or 14 days in 2 years. So what are the main benefits of Portugal Golden Visa? It gives you right to live, work, and do business in Portugal. It's actually a very interesting point because not all the Golden Visa programs give you that opportunity. So of course you can live, but not work, for example. Portugal Golden Visa even allow you to be employed in the country. You will have visa-free travel to all the European countries, minimal physical requirements, residency requirements that we already mentioned. Of course, if you want, you can live there the whole year round. And also, Portugal is very beneficial in terms of the family inclusion, because it's possible to include in one application spouse, financially dependent children, and financially dependent parents from both sides. What is good is that Portugal doesn't have strict age requirements for the dependent children. So the main factors that we need to consider here is that, children are really financially dependent, better if they live with their parents and if they study. So if the child complies with all of these requirements, it can be added to the application even if he or she is above 18 years old. And eligibility for citizenship, which makes it one of the best choice for all of the investors who are looking for a European passport. So after 5 years, it's possible to apply for a Portuguese passport by complying with minimal residency requirements and by passing a basic Portuguese language exam at A2 level. Also important point to mention here is that the countdown to your citizenship starts not from the moment when you get your golden visa, but from the moment when we submit your file for the golden visa. So from that moment, the countdown to your citizenship starts.
Yeah, Alison, I see one of the questions was about Portuguese language. And we just mentioned that, yes, it is required to pass at A2 level. But also, I actually heard some rumors that it can be replaced with some courses and so on. So we need to track, as soon as you're applying for your passport, we need to track if there are any, ways to make this language process easier. But on the other side, compared to many other programs, like, naturalization in Greece, where you need to learn Greek language, or in Hungary, when Hungarian language is even more complicated, Portugal, I think, is more or less easy to fulfill. And also, by the way, one life hack I heard from my client, this is possible for only one family member to pass the exam and to get citizenship. And later on, he can actually add his other family members using family reunion. We do not actually recommend, because it's much easier to go together with one application. But if language is super problematic point, we can use this way. You can choose one most language attracted person who can easily learn Portugal, and then other family members can also participate. For the other questions, we will respond a bit later. So let's come back to the presentation, and we will then answer the other questions.
Yeah, also adding to this benefits of Portugal is that in Greece it's also required to pass Greek history exam, so which also a big deal. Here it's just basic Portuguese level, and that's it. Yes, so here are the eligibility criteria. So only non-EU citizens are eligible to apply for this program. But it's possible to apply for all the other nationalities, as well as for the Americans and for the UK citizens. Of course, it's required for the investor not to have any criminal record, no sanctions. So in order to make sure that you have no red flags to be approved, we conduct a preliminary QIC checking of all the investors to make sure that we have a green flag to go for this program. So as for the process of Portugal Golden Visa, so first residence permit is issued for 2 years, and it's extended every 2 years, and you need to keep the asset. We also see all the questions about the investment requirements. We are just going straight to that point. And after 5 years, as we've already said, it's possible to apply either for a permanent residency or for a citizenship right away. Actually, the investor has a choice. He can either go for one or for another thing, and it's basically the choice of the person what he wants to get. And so once the residency, permanent residency or citizenship is acquired, it's possible to exit the asset. Yeah, so the most intriguing topic, investment options. Yeah, so previously, real estate option was available in Portugal Golden Visa program. However, at the end of 2023, this option was completely eliminated, and it's no longer possible to invest in real estate. So no matter what you buy in the country, what property, you cannot get the residency or the golden visa in the country. The only investment option that is left is to invest at least 500,000 euros in one of the qualified private equity or venture capital funds. So it's a fund investment. Alternatively, it's possible to donate, to make a non-refundable contribution of 200,000 or 250,000 euros in one of the national heritage foundation that preserve culture and history. So we are going further.
Many questions about amounts of investment, and I see the question: is there any option from 100, 130 Ks? Unfortunately, no. The cheapest is a contribution of 200,000, although, to be honest, not working well enough, no available projects. Most of the donations are starting from 250. But please stay also till the end when we are going to speak about the funds. We will show the different options, how you can decrease actually the fund investment amount by using different structures that are offered by approved funds. So that might be interesting for you, although for 100,000, unfortunately, no option.
Yeah, so let's talk about the funds investment and talk in more details about the nature of this investment tool. So, of course, many people firstly ask about the real estate, is it available? Then they start feeling sorry that, okay, I've missed that opportunity. It's clear because, of course, real estate is a very clear asset that you can, like, you know, the apartment or like some property is there and you understand this. Capital venture funds, of course, by definition, it's a risky investment that we must take into account. However, it's actually a very attractive and kind of even simplified investment tool. So that let's talk about the advantages that fund investment has. So first thing is the diversification. So we have a list of the funds that are eligible for the Golden Visa applicants. And it's possible to choose something that aligns with your investor profile. So there are funds that invest in some stocks and bonds, funds that invest in vineyards, in some entertainment, in hospitality. So it's very different, and it's also possible to do a combination of several investment strategies. So it actually makes it, your investment becomes more diversified, not just all the money is in one basket. Another thing is the tax incentives. So when you invest in the funds, it's more tax efficient than when you invest in real estate, because actually you don't pay any taxes that usually are applicable to the real estate purchase. Because when you buy any real estate, you need to usually pay like title deed transfer tax, you need to pay land registry tax and like property tax, etc., depending on the jurisdiction. Here you don't have these expenses. Another fact is the reliability, and it mainly applies to the Portugal Golden Visa funds, because also sometimes investors are like, okay, what are these funds? It's probably like state-owned one fund. It's not like that. In Portugal, the funds are quite thoroughly regulated. So first thing is that they're regulated by CMVM, which is a specific authority that regulates all the these funds in Portugal. All the funds have separate depository banks that it's possible to check. All the funds have auditors, which are quite reliable ones. For example, like KPMG, PwC, Ernst & Young, and etc., so all well-known names. All the funds have strict management regulations, dividends distribution strategy. So everything is possible to check, and it also gains more trust, and it's really an investment tool. And most of the funds, by the way, are also available for ordinary investors. So just other investors put the money into these funds to invest without a necessity to gain a golden visa.
Yeah, I also wanted to add, actually, I remember when even real estate option was available, even before it was restricted to specific areas. And I remember when open market, even in Lisbon, was available in 2021, for example, we were working with funds even that time. And for many clients who wanted to see alternative ways of investment, because in Portugal, actually, real estate options and the projects that were offered with the real estate options, they were not all, interesting from investor perspective, not all of them. And this is also important to understand. And with the funds, when we have quite a large list of funds, and when we understand that even they don't only work with the Golden Visa investors, and many other people choose the fund, venture fund or investment fund as a normal financial tool to secure money, to increase the asset, and this is quite popular. And many other our clients made this choice to invest in the Portuguese fund in order to get the Golden Visa, even when real estate option was available. And I remember that time how we first started to analyze the funds, how we analyzed different criteria, and we will show further what factors and what conditions of funds we analyze to help the clients to compare, to choose the best which suits your investors' profile and risk profile. So this is quite, this option is actually more popular than you may think at the first glance.
Yeah, exactly. And also to add to this is, for example, another advantage is an easy exit strategy, because when you invest money in the funds, you are not taking participation into the management of the funds, and you shouldn't decide how to exit this fund, who to sell this to when it comes to real estate. Yeah, for example, because okay, real estate is clear and stable. However, if you want to exit, it might be difficult depending on the market conditions, who to sell it to, who will buy it. Probably it also will like decrease in the value. Here, everything is on the management company, and when it comes, like for example, the maturity period of the fund is 7 years, so it means that on the 7th year you will definitely like exit the investment, which is a good thing. Another thing is actually profitability. Even though we mentioned that funds are by nature risky investments, many funds can predict and forecast quite high returns. Of course, here we need to take into consideration your investor profile. Yeah, I'm saying this once again. But for example, comparing to real estate in Europe, again, we understand that this is stable, yet quite conservative. So like normal returns in Europe, depending on the country, can be like even sometimes 2, 4, 5% maximum. And here, when it comes to the funds, if you are into some risk taking, it can be like even up to 15 to 20%. So the forecast that they make, so it also can be quite attractive. Yeah, so now we have some part about the funds, how like usually funds operate. Of course, there are seasoned investors who are very well aware about the funds structure and everything. There are others who have never heard anything about the funds. So normally we will also share this presentation because there will be several slides that dive really deep into this fund structure. But normally the procedure is like this. So first the fund raises capital. So this is the part when all the investors invest money into. Usually, like normally all the funds have a target size so that they can take up to like 20, 50, 100 investors. So once they collect all the funds, they start investing based on their investment strategy. So all the investment strategy can be checked at the stage when we choose the fund to invest in, and the fund follows what it has planned to do. Usually, like all the funds have a maturity period, so it's lifetime of the funds. Depending on the fund and according to the Portugal Golden Visa rules, that, for example, you can get citizenship on the year 6th, for example. So after 5 years, you can apply. On the 6th day, you can receive your passport, and only after this, you can exit the asset. So normally, all the funds take into account at least 6 years period of time. Like to be on a safe side, it's even possible to consider 7 years. So from 6 to 9, 10 years is the normal funds lifetime that they usually offer to the investors. And once the lifetime finishes, the management company sells the asset, also according to the exit strategy that we also check at the beginning, and it gives dividends and back the money to the investors.
There are actually quite a lot of questions regarding the funds. and I think most of them we would cover. Yeah, and anyway, we will share the presentation so you can have a look at that. And our purpose of this meeting, this webinar, is not to offer you one or another fund. We are here showing how you need to choose, what things you need to consider, and we want to for those who don't know, to explain how it works, what you need to check. And for example, the questions about the return of investment, whether they pay every year or they pay in the end, it depends on the fund. And most of the funds, they do offer return of investment. They are not allowed to guarantee one specific amount, so that it should be as per market performance, as per market indicators. But there are ways to choose the more conservative or more profitable ways, and we understand it cannot be both super conservative and huge return. Not possible. For conservative, it will be like 2-3% of return, and high returns would of course require you a bit higher level of risk. But as we discussed, your investment can be diversified. It can be diversified by yourself. You can choose different funds if the one share allows you lower ticket than minimum amount. And your investment can also be diversified within one specific fund. So this is, again, same about the minimum holding period. As per immigration rules, your minimum holding period should be before you obtain permanent residency or citizenship, so not less than 5-6 years. But some funds can regulate it additionally, because as Alison said, each fund has subscription period and exit period when they sell or refinance their assets, and they can identify whether it will be 8 years, 7 years, 6 years, or 10 years. This also as per fund, and by studying memorandum of the fund and management regulations of the fund, or the contract that clients is signing, we can understand the specific strategy and all the requirements and regulations that one specific fund is offering. And we are here to guide you within this, beside, of course, all the immigration procedure processing. That I'm answering the question, what is the Solent role? And being long time in the industry, we actually, as I told you, we've been working with fund before it was the only investment option. So we had big experience and long conversations with the client finance advisor, with fund managers. So we can speak about this for a long time. And me personally, and I know Alison, we do love Portugal program, and we do love working with funds. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's also the question that I wanted to answer. So we as Solent, we do this like immigration investment advisory, and here we are not on the side and we're not pitching any funds. We're actually on the investors side, and we are here also for like in this presentation to just give you an idea of how Portugal program works, how to choose the funds, and what are the main criteria that we should focus on when choosing the fund to invest in and the program to go for. So here again, like just some general info about this funds management. Also important thing is that some clients ask, like, is it possible to choose a fund that is like registered in the US or somewhere else? It's not possible. So like it should be Portuguese funds, and more than that, 60% of the fund's capital should be invested in local Portuguese companies, and the rest can be invested abroad. So as for the step-by-step procedure, and actually some of the like disadvantages, let's say, of the Portugal Golden Visa program is that the process really takes quite a long time. So I also want to highlight your like attention on this, just because Portugal is not the only option. So for example, if you're looking for a fast decision, you need to get a quick access to the European market, you need to get residency like in 2-3 months, then Portugal is not an option, because usually, speaking transparently, the approval of the Portugal Golden Visa takes from 12 to 16-18 months, according to the current practice. Of course, Portugal authorities are trying hard, at least they say like this, to improve the process, to facilitate all the procedures. However, really, the program is very popular, so they have a backlog of the applications, so they're trying to operate them. But yeah, speaking transparently, not all the promise, it's 1 year and a half at least to get the first approval. Good thing
Yeah,
is
although we
that
actually see some, sorry to interrupt you, we actually
it's
see
okay.
some positive improvements regarding the time frame, because there was a huge problem, and I think many of you heard about this, or have some friends or acquaintances who face this problem. And of course, Portugal is aware of this, and that was one of the reasons they implemented the change, that this 5 years before you can apply to passport actually starts when you apply. You don't have to wait, and those periods, those 20 or 16 months before you get approved will count as part of this 5-year period. This is a big progress, but of course we're all interested in faster approvals, and we see that it's starting to get a little bit faster. The biometry the biometry invitations are coming faster, so we hope that Portugal is finalizing all the problems with these backlogs that they gained during I don't know, starting probably from 2020, the Portugal was #1 program, and it's still very, very popular, but bureaucracy is a problem everywhere.
Yes, that's straight to the point. So like, even for example, you get your first approval after, let's say, 2 years. It's already 2 years on the way to your Portuguese passport. So 3 years on the left. So it doesn't influence your long-term like goal that you're looking for, because still Portugal Golden Visa is the only way to get a European passport for a like relatively low cost amount of money, comparing to Malta, as it was mentioned, like almost 1 million euros. By the way, one more important fact that we haven't mentioned is that Portugal officially has no restrictions on nationalities. So, because in the constitution of Portugal, it stated that any discrimination on the citizenship basis is prohibited. So, as long as you, as an applicant, have no criminal records like personal sanctions and some red flags, you are eligible to apply. The thing that we always start with to move to Portugal Golden Visa, to start the process, is a bank account opening, because it's a rule by the program that the investment must be transferred to a qualified fund from a personal bank account of the investor. So usually, even like meanwhile we are choosing the funds, we do like some calls with fund managers, choosing the strategy to follow. We already collect the initial documents from the investor to stand with the bank account opening. This stage can take like around 1 month or like even more, because it's like, yeah, it's usually very hard for a non-European resident to open a bank account in Europe. It also implies with some additional challenges depending on your current nationality, but the best thing is that everything can be solved. So there are different ways how we can approach this. And yeah, but the sooner we start, the better we will have the solution, and the first like step of opening a bank account can be fulfilled. So once it's done, the money is transferred from the investors, like any bank account, to a Portuguese bank account, and then the funds are transferred to the fund. So once the funds of the investor are in one of the qualified funds, we are ready to submit your application to AIMA. It's the immigration authority in Portugal that covers all this process. And yeah, as we said, all the process of getting approval takes approximately 12-18 months. And by the way, all the process is being done remote by our team, by our lawyers. And the only trip that is required from you is to fly to Portugal once you get a pre-approval, and you need to pass a biometry and to apply for the physical residency cards. So here is the list of documents, like some of the basic ones. Actually, as usually, we need some basic civil documents, birth certificate, marriage certificate, your CV, professional background, educational and no criminal record certificates, and proof of source of income. So yeah, let's talk about the funds. We will also
discuss Before we move to funds examples and criteria that we are comparing, there was also a question of whether we are handling all the bureaucracy and paperwork in regard of the procedure of applying for Golden Visa. And yes, of course, we are doing the whole procedures, so everything that you need, starting from obtaining tax identity number up to getting your residency cards, and if you need, renewing that and applying for citizenship. So we can be with you all together for 5-6 years if you want. If you don't want, you can, maybe you relocate, or you have some of your own understanding how you're going to apply, or maybe you don't plan to apply. So this is individually, but we are here. We will provide you with all the practice. We will help you with the preparation of the documents. We have processing managers, we have lawyers, we have processing lawyers, and we can even advise how to get apostille, if it's possible to do it remotely or not. So all the stuff, what to do with dependent children if they are growing up by the time renewing is coming. There are lots of details, and we are here to support you in all the possible questions.
Yeah, and it's actually very important to keep the track of the situation and to collect the real life experience from the lawyers and from all the investors that are already in the process, because all the time, especially when we are looking for these long-term solutions, the clients are always asking what will happen, what will be the cost for this, what will be the procedure for that, like in 5-6 years. Of course, we can share the current situation, how it's being done. However, of course, everything changes. It's not necessarily that it changes in a bad side, sometimes in a good, and it's getting faster and it's getting better. And yeah, from our side, you can expect that we will keep you updated with all the improvements and all the like even minor things that you need to take into account to be sure that you are moving in the right direction and to the way to your Portuguese passport. So here we have a comparison table of several funds in Portugal. It's not all the funds that are in our portfolio. We have around 20 funds. And usually when we start a conversation, like when we define here, Portugal is one of the programs that we want to go for. We want to do the investment. We don't want to donate money. So yeah, now it's the time to choose the fund. What are the questions that I usually ask the client? For example, what is your risk profile? What are you looking for? Are you more into conservative investments or more into risky ones? So if we want to consider conservative investments, then we need to think about the funds that invest in stocks, in bonds, in already financially stable companies. And we need to understand that the return that we might expect is around 4 or 5%. Usually not more, because it's the conservative investments that we are making. If we are more into risky investments, yeah, and it's fine for us to look for the more higher returns, and we can really consider something like 15 up to 20%, but yeah, just bear in mind that it's all a forecast, it's a prediction, it's not it's never guaranteed. And we can here then consider the funds that usually invest in artificial intelligence, green economy, sustainable energy, so all these modern directions. Also, when we choose the funds, we also need to understand our priorities. And so to narrow the choice. So for example, some investors are very into checking the management company. What is the experience? What is the track record? So here we need to look for some really reliable names that already delivered several funds that were super successful. Then we can narrow a choice by this by this tool. Some people are into the funds that have, for example, shorter lifetime. Yeah, so here you can see that one of the funds is 7 years old because they want to exit the investment earlier. So then also we cannot consider the funds that have 10 or more than that maturity period. It's also possible, by the way, you see here the line that's minimum investment. So most of the funds have a minimum investment of 500,000 euros. So all the money that you should invest to be eligible for the Golden Visa. you can put in one fund only. However, there are some funds that allow you to enter the funds with a low cost, like lower ticket. So let's say 100,000 euros, which also allows you to diversify. Yes, so you can choose several funds. So it's probably like kind of an additional headache of choosing this, but it's also like, again, having eggs in different baskets and feeling more secured.
Yes, I also see very good questions from our attendees. So, very good question. Will the funds be secured even if the market performance is low because the initial amount is reaching the eligibility criteria? That's a very good question, and the answer is yes. Even if the market goes down, something is happening, and the current evaluation of your share in one fund turns to be lower for this particular moment, it does not affect your application. If you're invested correctly, they still consider you eligible and fulfilling the initial requirements by investing 500,000 euro. So whatever is happening in the market, even if it goes down, it doesn't affect your application and you still keep on fulfilling the investment requirements. Second question, if there are any changes while going through the process, will there be any impact on my application? No, nothing will affect your application because we need to fulfill the requirements by the time we apply. It's actually not only in Portugal and many other countries, it's the same, even if the program closes tomorrow. Something they change. For example, they eliminate real estate option from Portugal Golden Visa program, but still those clients who invested in real estate, when it was possible, they are still eligible, and those changes didn't affect their application. Regarding the fees and the exact calculations, I ask you to send us maybe your email or your WhatsApp in private messages, or we will contact you later. We will consider your family composition and we will prepare you the full schedule of all the fees, including our fees, including fees, government processing fees for plastic card issuing, for all the costs, and also depending on the fund, there might be or might be not subscription fees or some other costs that you can meet along the process. And we will show you in transparency the whole calculation for the whole time period for your exact family composition. Okay, let's move forward. I will check which other questions I might miss.
Yeah, sure. I've also remembered your phrase that you always tell to the clients that we need to distinguish two parts, like immigration side and investment side. So like immigration side, when we like submitted the file and we're in the process, is one thing that is like covered by the legal team. And the investment side is actually something that is your personal choice, what you're more comfortable to put money into. So
yes.
yeah, let's consider several options. So basically here we will just have some very like brief information. We have a huge Excel table with all the specific data about each of the funds. If you're interested in one of the funds, or like while we are talking after this webinar, you will find yourself like into one of them. We can also, as we said, schedule calls with fund managers right away. We can share with you all the documents, all the management regulations, dividend distribution strategy, so everything, so that you can be fully secured. But here is just something to give you an example of what funds are like in Portugal. So here is, for example, one of the funds by Quadrantish Capital Management Company. So it's private equity funds, and it's one of the conservative funds that I've already talked about. So here we are aiming at lower returns. So here it's stated 6%. It can be like from 4 to 5, 6%. And so yeah, this is exactly the fund that invests in stocks, bonds, and already financially stable companies. So you can even see here that they do the bond acquisition from publicly traded companies with credit ratings between 3B and 3A. So it's not that they're taking like the companies out of the bankruptcy or something. They just put the money in something that is already well operating. So this is the example of the conservative funds that we can consider. Alternatively, this is one of the funds that is do the entertainment strategy. So actually what they invest in is this entertainment sector, restaurants, bars, and yeah, they just improve and allocate the resources in all the entertainment business in Portugal. And here we again comes to your investment idea and your like risk profile, because yeah, some people really say to us, like more commonly people say, oh, okay, I want to have something conservative, or yeah, I'm only into AI investments, I believe into this. But sometimes people are, yeah, really, I want to invest in some football company, there is a fund like this, or like vineyard, because they are more likely to to understand this specific field of business, and probably they can even like evaluate the fund strategy before we go like into the investment. What we also can consider is the fund size target, because there are funds that have lower size targets, for example, only like 15 million or like even 10 million, or there are huge funds, for example, like this with 100 million euros investment that they're targeting it. Here is one of the funds that invests in sustainable agriculture, green economy, and some renewable water resources. So it's more into some modern directions. This is also another alternative of the, like, let's say, more risky fund, yeah, more risky strategy. It also aims at more higher target return of 15%, for example. And this exact fund invests in artificial intelligence and yes, some technologies that are being implemented in the Portuguese market and in the companies. By the way, the data that is stated at the slides as well is as I mentioned, that in every fund we can check the depository bank, the auditor, like etc., all the authorities that are regulating this exact fund. And we can check, of course, the track records of the management company. So here, Saltish, for example. One more fund, for example, this is one of also the interesting funds. So it actually diversifies its investment strategy, and it does not invest himself, but it allocates the resources into four other different management companies. And each of the management companies invest in different sectors, which gains even more diversification of the investor. And by the way, this fund size target is relatively small. It's only aimed at 18 investors, and there are only 5 places left in it.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, just last one to mention is the another fund. It invests in hospitality sector. Also, one more important thing is that as I said, that real estate investment option is not available in Portugal. It's also not possible to invest in the funds that are directly connected with some real estate investment. So hospitality is a sector that can be kind of a balanced decision in this regard, because they invest in managing the hotels, the apart hotels and residences, which is also can be clear for many investors who are into real estate sector but cannot invest in it directly.
Okay, I actually see many questions, and most of them I would prefer to discuss in individual session, because we need it would be easier for us to give to have a feedback fast. But for example, questions regarding the I lost it. So is it safe? Is it safe if I choose a conservative way, something like that? So how to answer this? Yes, if we are choosing more conservative fund, this is more diversified, so this is more safe for you. We can even choose several conservative funds and to make this strategy even more safer. To say that it's 100% guaranteed, we also cannot, because it's not a loan. And even if we take a loan, something, of course, can happen. So it's not 100%, but this like a relatively how we can consider this level of risk. And when we speak and we consider one or another fund strategy, we can evaluate for ourselves if this level of risk of this type of investment is clear and understandable for us. For example, it can be compared when you invest in stock market. You can believe in one company and buy the stocks of or bonds of this sector on this company, or you can choose like S&P 500 or some other funds that can diversify and decrease the general level of risk. Although market can show different stages as well, and even those stable and conservative tools can show ups and downs, but long term they can go on a good performance. So it's all dependent. For us, yes, we are identifying the average time frame for our investment, which is not less than 6 years, and we can actually compare and analyze many factors where funding is investing. So here we can really choose something that will work exactly for you. I also saw a question, if investment goes completely bankrupt and I lose all my money, sounds super pessimistic, will that affect the application? I understand that it's specifically exaggerating to understand, again, immigration risks. And that's what we already mentioned. We have two types of things to consider. First, how Golden Visa is secured. And yes, if you fulfilled your the requirements of the program, you invested in approved and legitimate fund, which had all the CMVM listings and all the other approvals, you applied correctly the necessary amount, whatever happens with the fund later, your Golden Visa application is secured. So this is one thing to understand. Second thing, of course, we don't want you to lose all your money, and we will give you all the information about the funds to choose the one to benefit from investment perspective as well, or at least not to lose all your money. So this is another condition which we're also helping to choose. But good thing that, yes, anyway, if your purpose is Golden Visa, so it's much easier for you to choose. At least one thing will be accomplished. And here, by the way, some specific offers which actually allow you to decrease the amount of our first investment. This is not offered by all of the funds. They're just special offers. Sometimes they are even more marketing, because many funds are competing with each other, and some of the funds were opened for Golden Visa program. Even some of the developers that used to work in with Portugal program now had to switch to working with funds. So this is something, some offers from that type of companies. But still, we are considering factors. If we can offer them to the client, if they don't have any immigration risk, and if they're still fulfilling the program requirements. And this is something that we can also offer to you to consider and to compare.
Yeah, please also note that we work with only the qualified and licensed funds. We don't do like any schemes or something like this. So these are just alternative legal ways how you can, like, if you want not to go for just some even like conservative funds, you want to secure your investment. So there are funds that offer some buyback options, and there are ways how they can deliver that. They can pay interest paid upfront, so it's not that you receive your ROI depending on the fund performance, but you have something fixed from the very beginning and you receive it after your investment is done. And alternatively, there is also a money lending option, which we also can discuss separately. So it's the way how to optimize the money that you're spending from the very beginning. So in one-on-one session, we will also be glad to dive deeper into this. As for, by the way, to add to the question about the exit, for example, if you want to exit early or something, this is also one of the factors that we can take into account while choosing a fund, because there are funds that like say strictly that for 10 years, for example, the money is locked and it's not possible to exit earlier. There are funds that allow you to exit earlier. Probably there can be some sanctions, but just, yeah, in case you can consider that, okay, even I don't want to follow the Golden Visa program, like I want my money back or something like this, it's possible to then focus on the funds that at least have this opportunity to exit earlier, like in case something happens. So you are actually asking all the right questions, and this also helps us to understand while talking and advising what are the important factors to you and how to direct you what is the most suitable option for your profile.
Yes, and I'm actually really glad that our audience is so experienced and educated, and this is a great pleasure to speak about details and practice then rather than we just discuss how Golden Visa work in general. And this is a big pleasure, and we will be happy to have one-to-one sessions with you. Some couple of other questions about transferring the money, whether it goes one whole amount together. It is possible to split the tranches if this is your bank requirements. But the fact is, we can apply for your Golden Visa only after the whole amount is paid. So this is because we need to prove the investment requirements are fulfilled. So that's about that. And I think most of the other questions we covered, and we will be super glad to talk to you later individually. Yeah, I think, and regarding the exit before 10 years, it actually, as Alison said, some of the funds can allow you to exit earlier, although it's not an exiting period of the whole fund. But some of the funds, they have a life cycle shorter. Some of the funds can operate for 7-8 years. So this is already less than 10 years. So this is specifically depend on fund only. There is no law which states the time frame for holding period. And yes, to discuss all those options where we can get upfront payment of return, it sometimes can be up to 100 something thousand euro, which you can get right away. Money lending, you can get the full amount borrowed. It should be outside of Portugal, but this is also possible. And guaranteed buyback, yeah, although it's not officially guaranteed by the program, but by some documentaries, they do it. Even is it possible to pay in crypto? It's not possible because as we started in the beginning, you should open a bank account and the money should be transferred from your bank account in Portugal. So first, we help you to open bank account remotely for most of the nationalities. If there are no restrictions or no KYC issues, it is possible to open bank account remotely. Then you transfer to your Portuguese bank account money from your other bank account outside of Portugal. You accumulate there the necessary amount, then you start to invest. So in case of crypto assets, you first need to convert it to bank money, and then we use it. Okay, I think we covered everything. And thank you so much, Alison. Thank you so much. We had a very, very warm audience today.
Yeah, thank you, Ksenia. We will contact personally all the people who left their email addresses. So we will be glad to have one-on-one session. And to everyone who were present, we will send an email with the presentation, the recording of this webinar. So, and if you are interested, you are always welcome to contact us. We'll be happy to guide you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Stay in contact. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.